Everyone, welcome to Fibromyalgia Talks. I am your host, Necie Edwards. Happy New Year. This is our first episode of the new year. A lot has been going on, and I'm excited to be back. I was on a brief hiatus because I suffered a death in my family. My sister, she passed away due to complications of COVID-19, and that has been really difficult for me. It's been a battle. It's been stressful. It's just been painful. One thing about COVID I was thinking about is when you turn on your TV and they talk about these statistics and the number of deaths, when you're looking at all that, sometimes, it may not faze many people until they have experienced it firsthand. Reading about it, you'll say, oh, that's rough. Oh, I hate to hear what's happening. But really going through it and experiencing it, there is no comparison. And that's not something that the media really, I feel, prepares us for. So my sister, when she passed away, it was in October. She was unvaccinated, and she suffered greatly. She was in a hospital for 2 weeks. First week, she was on a COVID unit, had very difficulty breathing, and then they transferred her to ICU. I thought at one point in time that she may be returning back to us. It was just a moment in passing one Saturday. It seemed as though things were on the uptick, that she was improving. And then the very next day, things came to a screeching halt. And unfortunately, we lost her. She suffered. Being unvaccinated, she didn't think that it was necessary. And towards the end, she did share with family that she really wished she had gotten vaccinated. So today's episode is not about me telling you why you need to be vaccinated. I'm just sharing with you my story about my sibling. I am fully vaccinated. Getting vaccinated doesn't mean that you won't get it. What it does mean is that should you get it, you have a better chance of surviving, a better chance of beating it, a better chance of still living. Whereas with my sister, who had no protection whatsoever, she died. You may be wondering, how did she catch it? She caught it from the workplace. At her place of employment, they were not wearing masks or anything of that nature. And she was the third person who had contacted COVID. The other two people had it bad, but not as bad as she was. The other two workers, one was the physician of the practice who had COVID. This person had it bad, but my sister had it far greater, far worse. And it's just tragic because she left behind two beautiful daughters. She left behind grandkids. She left behind a loving family, and we miss her dearly. And I just had to take some time away just to take care of my own emotional health. Oftentimes we hear people talking about, self-help, and we'll say self-care. Oh, that's not needed. I'm going to tell you, it is needed. If you are feeling overwhelmed, I know many people have been feeling overwhelmed during this time because it's just been an onslaught of one thing after another. Like for the past 2 years, we've been dealing with this. And I feel the only way we're going to be able to survive, the only way we're going to be able to beat this is if people get vaccinated. This is not a debate about if you should or me trying to convince you. All I'm telling you is from my experience, this is not something you want to go through. I assure you, you do not. Because what nobody really talks about is they talk about the statistics and everything. But think about it from this perspective. You make that decision that you don't want to be vaccinated, and that's your choice. But please Think about those you leave behind. Think about the pieces that they have to pick up and move on with their life. It's not easy, especially when there's children involved, when there's grandkids involved, when there's family involved. Think, if this is you and you're unvaccinated, please, please, seriously, give some thought to those that you're leaving behind who have to pick up the pieces. Many people, for example, don't have life insurance. My sister did have life insurance, but that was not an issue for us. But I know many people who have passed away from COVID, and you're seeing all these GoFundMe pages because people have no insurance. When they pass away, there are no financial resources for those they leave behind. Those are suffering. Those individuals are suffering. If you're someone that has young children and you have decided not to be vaccinated, then I want you, and even if you are vaccinated, I still want you to have a plan, have a care plan in place. So should something happen to you, who will have custody of your children? Think about that. Have a plan in place for life insurance. Your beneficiaries, get your house in order, because you don't know until you experience what we have experienced and what we are still trying to come out of this fog. I mean, some days I wake up and I'm tempted to pick up the phone and call her, and then I realize she's no longer there. She's gone. And that hurts deeply. I know they say time heals all wounds, but you know what? It's so hard. And this was October. And so I have been trying to pick up the pieces and move forward in my own life. And it's hard. It's, because I find myself saying so many times, what could we have done differently to get her to be vaccinated? Nothing, because she was an adult. That was her choice. People I hear all the time say, you have to respect the wishes of your loved ones. That's true, but here's the thing, folks, when it comes to COVID, there is so much false information out there that your loved ones are hearing. So it's really sometimes not a matter of not respecting their wishes as much as it is those are not really their wishes. They are making decisions based upon misinformed information. That is very deadly. And so I just want you to give some thought in watching this video. Whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, make certain that you have your house in order. Make certain you have life insurance. If you have children, let's say you have children and, think about who's going to take care of them. Maybe you're someone who's a single mom. Maybe you're someone who's divorced, but the spouse wants nothing to do with your children. Please, please have a plan in place so that should something happen to you, people know what your wishes are. Life insurance, if you have a home. I mean, just so many different things you need to think about. So don't take this lightly. Don't put it off. I've seen many people put these types of matters off, and it's too late. So please give that some thought. So today, what I wanted to talk to you about is New Year, New Beginnings. And it's hard for many people who have lost loved ones to think about starting a new year over again. But that's what we have to do. And so a couple of things came to my mind when I was thinking about New Year, New Beginnings. I want to talk to you about with chronic pain. Okay, this is a new year. I want you to have new beginnings. And I wanted to share with you that people living with pain, chronic pain, did you know that for those of us that's living with chronic pain, we are at a far greater risk of developing mental health issues? Seriously. Equally, people living with mental health issues are at a greater risk of experiencing chronic pain. I think the reason for that is because when you're living with chronic pain, for many of us, you go to bed with chronic pain, you wake up with pain. Okay, you're living it day in, day and night. Some people just can't take it anymore. It becomes just so unbearable. I know of some people who have had loved ones and friends with fibromyalgia, and the pain was just so severe that they committed suicide. That's why your mental health matters. That's why you need to take care of you. Body, mind, spirit, and soul. You must take care of you. Many people don't really understand what it's like living with chronic pain. You may be frustrated trying to convince people that your pain is real. If that is you, I would like to share with you this thought. Stop trying to convince people that you have chronic pain because they're not in your shoes. They don't understand it. Oftentimes they don't get it, especially if you have fibromyalgia, which is an invisible disorder. It's invisible because when they do x-rays and other tests, it doesn't say or show fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is basically widespread chronic pain. It is a syndrome. It affects your muscle. It affects soft tissue. The best way to describe that pain is being run over by a truck and the truck put itself in reverse and runs over you again. It is severe pain. In the beginning, I have had probably 7 second opinions before I received a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. So I have been suffering in pain for many, many, many years. That's why I said your mental health matters, because many people that I have spoken with, and this is not just women, this is men too, because some of my clients are men who are also living with chronic pain just like women. But the difference between the two sexes is with men, many of them are so accustomed to being the breadwinners of their family that they suffer silently. No one knows what they're dealing with, that they're in pain. They don't say anything. Whereas us women, we communicate, we're open. Most women, we talk to our friends, our close friends about what's happening with us. And so take care of your mental health. And that's why New Year, New Beginnings is so important, because starting this year, I want you to start having a plan of action of how you are going to manage your chronic illness. Even if you don't have fibromyalgia, but some other type of chronic illness, lupus, sickle cell, arthritis, cancer, whatever it is, I want you to have a plan in place of how you can move forward. Because here's the thing. Some of the diagnoses the doctors may tell you that there may not be a cure for, and that is true. But even though there may not be a cure for certain things, that don't mean that you just give up and just say, woe is me, there's nothing else I can do. I want you to have the mindset that no matter what the diagnosis is, you're still going to find joy, even find joy in the little things. Lift yourself up. And that's the one thing that I see all the time. We get so caught up, become married to our illness. And when I say married, that becomes like your spouse, because that's you. You're living with yourself day in, day out. All you see is pain. But I want you to change that vision. And that's where you need to look out, within yourself or outside of yourself, to figure out, okay, what can you do? So I have some tips for you today. It's about 6 things. So the first thing I want to talk about, let me first tell you what they are. The first tip is talking about, we're going to discuss, is getting physical, with physical fitness. The second one is, don't believe everything you think. And that's dealing with negative thoughts. The third thing is, take a deep breath. Deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. That's very important. The fourth thing is, don't run away from your problems. Okay. The fifth thing is, get social, and we'll talk more about that later. And then the sixth thing is, be prepared for obstacles. So we're going to really discuss them out of order. And the reason for that is because of these 6 things, I have found the biggest thing is, that's priority. I mean, all of them are priority, but the one thing that I want you to think about is, and I'm looking at my notes, is don't run away from your problems. Don't run away from your problems. That's vitally important, because when you're struggling with them, You know, our human nature, we want to feel better, right? But sometimes what happens is that we run away from it. We don't address it. We don't talk about it. We walk around as if everything is fine when everything is not fine. We avoid the problem. Okay, it may help you in the short term, but it won't do you any good in the long term. Because here's the thing about pain. Chronic pain, when it first starts, it may seem manageable. As it progresses without any medical intervention, it gets worse. And I'm going to tell you, it will shut you down. Before I knew what was wrong with me, I was having severe debilitating pain. The type of pain that you wake up in the morning and you can barely crawl out of bed. You can't ignore that forever. Sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with it. Sooner or later, you're going to have to see a healthcare provider. Many times we say, oh, I don't want to see the doctor. I'm tired of seeing the doctor. Sometimes we'll say, oh, I don't want to pay money for the copay anymore. Sometimes we'll say, oh, I'm just so fed up. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Hey, I get it. Because each time I go see the doctor, yes, there is a copay involved. If it's your primary care doctor, it could be a copay of $25. If it's a specialist you need to see, it may be $40. It can be more, it can be less. Okay, so I get all that. But this is what I want to tell you. You don't want to avoid it, because the one thing I have always said to myself is, no matter how bad it gets, I want to know what's happening to me, what's happening to my body, and what can be done. Because the one thing you do not want to hear the doctor ever say to you is, had you come sooner to me, I could have helped you. And let me repeat that. Had you made an appointment and come into the office sooner, I could have helped you overcome this, but now you've waited too long. That's critical, wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you agree? Especially when you have, let's say, a disorder that it could be cancer. You could find out that you're in stage 4 of cancer. That's what happened to my father, Lee. He had a sore throat, and with his sore throat, the doctors told him that it was bronchitis. And I kept saying, Daddy, I want you to get a second opinion. My dad worked at, U.S. Steel, and he worked in the mill. And he always saw the mill doctor. But it got to the point that it just didn't seem like it was a sore throat to me. I thought it was something far severe. And after pressing and nudging him, my father finally got a second opinion. And guess what, folks? When he got that second opinion, they told him it was lung cancer. It had metastasized to his lungs, and that his life expectancy would only be 3 months. I had just graduated from high school. This is many, many years ago, but it's still seared in my mind. I had just graduated from high school, and right after that, he received a diagnosis of lung cancer. That cancer metastasized from his lungs to his eyes, to his brain. He eventually lost sight in one of his eyes, and so that was devastating. And that's why I say don't run away from your problem, because I really feel that had my dad got a second opinion, he could have had a better chance of fighting the lung cancer. He had chemotherapy, he had radiation therapy. None of that helped because it was just too far along. So even if you don't have fibromyalgia, maybe you have arthritis, maybe you have lupus, maybe you have sickle cell, breast cancer. I mean, whatever it is, my point is, even if it's ovarian cancer, whatever, the point is, don't run away from the problem. Please, please get your preventative care done. If you're a woman, your mammograms, get your colonoscopy, get your pap smears. If you're diabetic, get your A1C done, get all that squared away. Same thing for the men, get your colonoscopies done, and in addition to that, get your prostate cancer screenings and the digital rectal exams. Preventative care, folks, does save lives. So If this is you, or you know of a loved one who's dealing with this thing, please stop running away from the problem. I want you to confront it head on. And yes, it can be very frustrating. I know what that's like after seeing so many doctors and no one seemingly can tell me what the problem is. Oh, I got fed up. But no matter how fed up I got, you know what I decided? I'm going to keep fighting this until I get an answer. Even if that means I have to go from doctor to doctor to doctor. I did that. And even after I got my fibromyalgia diagnosis and things were under control, seemingly at some point I had more pain that I knew was not related to the fibromyalgia. Because when you're in tune with your body, it gets to the point where you can identify patterns of pain. You can say, okay, it normally feels like this, but now it feels like this. Something's off. Your body has a way of communicating with you to let you know that there's some changes. It will let you know, hey, you need to get this checked out. And when I could not get the answers that I needed, I had to go all the way to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where I did get some answers that I feel really made a difference in my quality of life. So that's the first tip. Don't run away from the problem, because when we run away from our problems, guess what tends to happen? They snowball. Okay, so that was tip number 1. Don't run away. So tip number 2 we're going to talk about is get physical. When I was first diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I remember this doctor telling me, getting exercise, and I thought he was crazy because that pain was so real. Just the thought of exercising, I thought to myself, is he serious? I can barely get out of bed. I can barely walk. He's talking about exercise? I didn't know any better then, because it felt as though the more you would move, the worse it would get. Then you start thinking that if you work out, that you may be injuring yourself. So I'm here to tell you, getting physical activity when possible does make a difference. What I have found is that when I started working out, walking is my thing. I love walking. You may experience some initial pain, but what's important is that you listen to your body, because your body will let you know when enough is enough. Okay, push it a little bit, but not too far. Okay, so walking really makes the difference for me. I love walking because when I walk, I have found for me, it's a great stress reliever. I can take my mind off of things. Initially, it was hard, but the more I would do it, a little step. So maybe today you say you'll walk maybe 10 minutes, tomorrow 15 minutes, another day 20 minutes, until you can get up to 30 minutes. But know your body, know what works for you. And then you'll start noticing different things, especially with fibromyalgia, with the muscles. The more movement you have is going to help you better manage that pain, versus when we don't move, your body gets so tight and then you feel more of the pain. So I'm telling you this from experience. Please, please, please take care of that. Get some physical activity. Maybe you have a treadmill at home. Maybe you have a total gym at home. What you want is low impact exercise. Also make certain that you have some good walking shoes. So for walking shoes, the brand that I recommend that I wear is Brooks. Brooks. And the reason why I recommend Brooks is because it comes in 2 styles. It comes in the Ghost and the Glycine. So I have the Ghost type shoe of the Brooks, because with the Brooks Ghost, it's total support for the entire foot. Versus the Glycine gives you the support in your heel. So when I wear those, my Brooks Ghost, I can walk and walk and walk and walk, and they are so comfortable, and it feels so good. And what I discovered for me is by walking, it helped with that sleep. Think about when you have fibromyalgia. For those of you that have it, you know how we get that fibro fog where we have difficulty sleeping? Walking helps my body reset. Walking strengthens me. It's good for weight loss. And it's awesome for sleep. Try it. Okay. Moving on. So we've talked about don't ignore the problem. That was number 2. I'm sorry, that was number 1. Number 2 was we just talked about getting fit. And so that brings me to the third thing. And that is don't believe everything you think. Because I'm going to tell you, pain and mental illness can weigh you down and color your thinking. You may start to, have negative thoughts. You may start thinking to yourself, oh, I'll never overcome this. You may start thinking to yourself, especially when it comes to relationships. I met a lot of women, for example, with some health issues, and they'll say, well, I want to get married, Necie, or who's going to want me because I have this chronic illness. So don't believe everything you think, okay? Because when we start putting that out there, that negativity, that's what we're going to receive, okay? Stop allowing pain to take over your life. When I said earlier about you wake up with pain, you go to bed with pain, there are a lot of people out there catastrophize everything about their pain. They'll say, my life is no longer worth living. I'm all used up. I'm not good. Okay, I can't do anything anymore. All right. That may be true that pain has changed what you can do. That may be true that you have limitations with pain. But you know what? I'm challenging you to overcome that negative thinking. Look at it this way. Negative thoughts do what? They lift you up. They make you feel so good. I'm sorry, let me back up. The negative thoughts tear you down. They don't make you feel good. What I meant was positive thoughts lift you up and make you feel good. So again, positive thoughts lift you up, can change your whole outlook on life. Whereas negative thoughts, they will make you depressed. They will tear you up inside and make you feel really bad about yourself. So I just want you to be aware of that, because I'm going to tell you, don't believe everything you think, because that opens up the door for depression. That opens up the door for self-destructive behavior. Okay? It's just not worth that anymore. Okay? So, and also those negative thoughts, they have the power to increase your pain. So please stop doing that to yourself. You may be saying, well, that's easy for you to say. What do I have to be thankful for? Well, I'm going to tell you this. No matter what situation you find yourself in, there are some people out there who are in a far worse condition than you are. And you may be saying you find it hard to believe, but trust me, there are some people who will say, given their circumstances versus yours, they would rather be in your shoes versus their own shoes. And that made me think about a quote from Willie Jolly. He says, a setback is a setup for a comeback. Again, a setback is a setup for a comeback. For a long time, that was my motto, that all these setbacks I was having, it was just setting me up for a comeback. I believe that every day. Also in my house, what I would do is, I had these cards kind of like this. Let me show you one. You can't see the writing on it. It's about this size. It's just like an index card. I would put positive affirmations on there. I would even find my favorite scriptures in the Bible, put them on there, put them in different parts of my house, so that when I'm walking through my house, whether it's the restroom, the kitchen, bedroom, living room, whatever, I had something positive to see that was in front of me, that was lifting me up, because that was helping me to overcome negative thinking. And I found that, you know what? Hey, I'm feeling better today. All right. So what I want you to do is to take back control. You've given it away when you allow yourself to continuously to think negative. Take back your power, own your power, new year, new beginnings, and make a decision that going forward, hey, you're going to put one foot in front of the other. You're going to move forward. Make a decision. You're going to survive. Make a decision. Make a choice that you are not going to give up no matter what comes at you. And that this too shall pass. Think about that. Okay, so we've talked about getting physical. We've talked about don't run away from your problems. We've talked about don't believe everything. So let's talk about taking a deep breath. So when you have fibromyalgia, sometimes we get what they refer to as costochondritis, that inflammation behind the chest wall. And sometimes people will tell you it's really just your fascia being stuck because there's no movement. So deep breathing helps, folks. Deep breathing makes a difference. I used to get this pain that with this costochondritis, it was just so real and raw. It just felt as though my chest was going to explode and that I didn't know what was going to happen. That's just how bad it was. Even just to move, oh my goodness, just to move, I could barely move. It was just so debilitating. And so what I found for me was relaxation. I started doing Tai Chi. I became a certified Tai Chi chair instructor. I found for me that mind and body, I learned more about the connection between the mind and body and how to level down that pain. Okay. I learned that when I control my emotions, when I start taking a deep breath, doing that deep diaphragmatic breathing, I learned for me that as I started to do that, I began to calm down. And with Tai Chi, it's the slow, gentle movements. I began to calm down. My brain wasn't as busy anymore. This chest pain wasn't as severe anymore. And then when I noticed that these small, subtle changes was making a difference in my health, I said, oh, okay, now I'm on to something. Think about that. It started making a difference in how I was feeling. So when it comes down to when we talked about a few minutes ago about physical fitness, find something you can do that you will enjoy, that you can do it all the time during the week. Find something that you enjoy. Because with exercise, if it's something that you're forcing, that can be more painful. Find something that you enjoy. I love walking. That works for me. I take my dog with me. She's a husky. She loves walking, and I love that. I love being out in nature. So find what's going to work for you and do it, because it will make a difference. So when we were talking about this diaphragmatic breathing, so what I want you to do is sit in a relaxed posture. So right now, I feel very relaxed. Close your eyes and place one hand on your chest. Okay? And in addition to that, I want you to put the other one on your diaphragm. All right? And so what you do is you're going to do diaphragmatic breathing. What you're going to do is you're going to breathe in slowly through the nose, and then you're going to let your abdomen expand, and then you're going to slowly exhale through your mouth. So let's try this. So that's through my nose, and then it's going to come out through my abdomen. Do that. Try it. In the beginning, it may seem like you're not really getting, the hang of it, but keep trying. I also do that when I find myself overly stressed because I have to calm myself down. If you're overly stressed and you don't calm yourself down, you're going to notice more increased pain. So these mind body techniques really work. Walking, Tai Chi. There's also another modality out there called Feldenkrais. So with Feldenkrais, some physical therapy facilities may use it. It just teaches you all about body movement. So that makes a difference. Body movement. So give that some thought. All right. And then the other thing let's talk about is getting social. When I first got sick, I lost a lot of my friends. And then when I thought about it, first it was depressing. You know, the people that you thought were there for you, that would be in your corner, they disappeared because they just viewed me as no longer being the same person. No one asked to get sick. I sure didn't. It just happened. It can happen to anyone. And I didn't have that social circle anymore. But what I did discover was the people who were truly there for me. People that I didn't even expect that would be there for me, who showed up big time and who are still in my life. So I want you to think about that, because pain and mental illness can lead to social withdrawal. When you feel bad sometimes, you don't feel like talking on the phone. You don't feel like socializing with people, doing things with people, you know. Sometimes you feel tired. When you are no longer social, that can lead to depression. It decreases the energy, required to engage with people. When you are no longer social, you withdraw into yourself. You don't want to be bothered, because sometimes that pain is just so real, and that you're tired of people asking you sometimes, how do you feel? Sometimes you may be thinking, how do you think I feel? You get frustrated when people say to you, oh, you still in pain? It's like, well, what do you think? You go through all these emotions. It just takes its toll on you. And then for those people who don't understand, sometimes what happens is you just feel that there's nobody there for you. I learned a long time ago, stop trying to convince people that you're hurt. I don't do that anymore, because that's not their journey. That's not their experience. No matter how hard sometimes it is for me to explain to people what I'm dealing with and I'm living with, they will never get it. Why? Because they have never walked a day in my shoes. They have never walked a day in your shoes. So you just have to just make up your mind that, you know what? They may never get it. And that's okay. Stop. Sometimes we expect more from people than what they're able to give. Some people, for example, don't know how to be compassionate. Okay? Some people are just takers. They're not givers. Some people are just plain downright selfish. But if something happened to them, is stop the presses. Stop the sun from shining. Stop the moon from lighting its way. They just want the whole world to shut down because it's them. It can be something so simple. They can stump a toe, which is nothing compared to fibromyalgia. But they want you to have all the compassion for them. But when you're needing something, they don't have that same compassion. They don't know how to be empathetic. They just, I had to learn the hard way that they don't get it. They don't understand it. And I'm not going to try to prove it to them. Unfortunately, sometimes what you have to do is make up your mind whom you will allow to be in your life, whom you will allow to be in your inner circle. You have to have these energetic boundaries to protect you. Because I have found that if I allow the wrong people to be in my inner sanctity, to be around me, to have communication with me, they will pull me down. They will depress me. I stopped that years ago. No, I am very, very selective about whom I will allow in my life. I'm unapologetic about that, very unapologetic, because I'm taking care of Necie. I know what's best for me. They don't know what's best for me. Some people also have ill intentions. They want to just tear you down. Some people, they just want to just press it. They want to see you at your weakest moment and say, wow, I got her now, or I got him now. And, they just want to just leap and just hurt you. So I'm telling you, let it go. Be careful who you allow in your circle. I have a very close, tight circle. In that circle, I only allow a few people. And those are the people that I know who love me, who care about me, who have been there for me before I got sick, even when I got sick. They love me. They accept me for who I am. Okay? There is no pretense. You don't have to pretend that you're somebody who you're not. If I have a day and they say, hey, let's do dinner, and I'll say, hey, would love to, not feeling well, hey, they get it. No issues. Okay, these are people who will do for me without me having to ask them anything. They will just show up in my life and say, hey, Necie, I thought about you. They may send me a card. Okay, they may send me a plant. Some may even give me money to say, hey, towards your prescription drugs or whatever it is. Or they'll say, here's some money, just do something for you. These are real people. That's my inner circle. People that I can trust, people I can count on. But I'm going to tell you how it got to that point. The grace of God. Praying to God. I asked God a long time ago, Lord, show me who's real. Show me who's not real. Show me whom I can trust. Show me, and only put those people in my life that have good intentions. If they don't have any good intentions, Lord, weed them out. And God has blessed me. And he has done that. And I don't even think twice about it. I'm going to share with you all a funny story. So, one time I went to the grocery store. And someone that I used to work with saw me at the grocery store. This person had not seen me in a number of years. And first thing she said was, wow, Necie, you look so good. And I said, very sassy. And I said, oh, yes, I know. Thank you. Okay, because see, she just knew, oh, I was going to look like I was at death's door. And I don't look like that. And she was just shocked. And I just kept on moving, didn't look back, didn't think twice about it. See, you got to be bold. And you got to take some things by force when it comes to you and your health. You have to lift yourself up. If no one else has a good word to say to you about you, it's got to come from you. Because see, what I do is every day I say, Lord, I'm a woman of faith. I says, Lord, keep me safe from danger seen and unseen. Keep your hedge of protection around me. Then, in addition to that, I'll look in the mirror and I'll say, girl, you looking good today. Okay, girl, you got it going on. And you know what, Necie? It's going to be okay. Sometimes I'll look in the mirror and say, okay, yeah, I know things didn't go well. It's going to be okay. You have to become your own best friend. That involves loving yourself. And that's the thing that many people with chronic illness don't do. They don't love themselves. Because think about your illness. For many people, that's how they identify with who they are. You know, you can meet somebody for the first time, and how they introduce themselves is, hey, I'm Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, so-and-so. They identify themselves by their title. They identify themselves with, where they work. That's their self-esteem. Everything is built into that. When you get sick, you stop working, you can't do the things you used to do. What are you going to do? That's when the rubber meets the road, folks. You are not your job. You are not your job title. You are not that company where you used to work at. Who are you? Think about it. Who are you? Sometimes you feel angry with yourself that you find yourself in this situation. You've got to fall in love with yourself all over again. You know what? What I learned about myself after going through all this, One day I had a pity party. I sure did. And God spoke to me clearly and said, Necie, get up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. This is not about you. What others meant for bad, I meant for good. Your life is not over. It's just now starting. And I remember saying, but God, well, what about this and what about that? And God said, I've spoken. My grace is sufficient for thee. Pick yourself up. He then directed me. He then gave me a plan of what he needed me to do. And guess what else? He showed me what I was called to do. So that's why I said, who are you? I'm not my job. I'm not that title. None of that matters, because see, when all that stuff is stripped away from you, you've got to get real with you. You got to know who you are. To whom do you belong? I'm a child of God. I know who my Savior is. Who is yours? You've got to know whom you are. I don't need nobody to tell me who I am. I know who I am. I know what I'm called to do. If you don't know what you're called to do, seek God, seek understanding. Scripture tells us people perish due to a lack of knowledge. You are not that job title, because guess what? Don't mean a thing. Okay? Job title, people get caught up in that. That don't mean nothing. You can have somebody who has a title of manager. They may be making $15 an hour. Okay? So you can't go by that. Can't go by titles, people. Don't mean a thing. Look at it this way. I can't take a title to the bank. Okay, I can't go to the bank and say, hey, give me some money. This is my title. Necie so-and-so. They don't care about that. So let's get real. Think about who you are. Think about what God has called you to do. Think about all those skills that God has blessed you with. Think about the gift that God has given you. I'm telling you, that's when it gets really, really real. God has a way of getting our attention, because when we don't take care of ourselves, body, mind, and spirit, so when you don't take care of you and you just a busy bee, you forever doing, and you never stop to have self-care, it will sit you down on your butt. It will get your attention. And most importantly, God has a way of getting your attention. He sure got mine. And that is how my not-for-profit got started, due to the grace of God leading me in that direction. Same thing with Fibromyalgia Talks, this talk show here on Comcast Public Access TV, as well as my live radio show, The Pain-Free Zone, moving from pain to wellness. Before I got sick, I wasn't doing any of that. When I got sick, God told me, he spoke to me, he opened up doors that had been shut, and here I am. So that's why I'm saying to you that, get your house in order. So we were talking about getting social, and then I went beyond it a little bit. I digress, but I think you get the point that I'm making, that you have to believe in yourself. I share with you about my circle that I have around me, a close-knit group. So have people in your life that you know, trust, and love. Okay? That makes a difference. And be prepared for obstacles. Okay? Life happens, it does. Be prepared to overcome those obstacles, no matter what. So having a chronic pain condition, when my sister died of COVID, that was really hard for me. It was impacting my health big time. I found that I couldn't sleep anymore. The stress was just overwhelming. It was just like one thing out of another. And then another family member died of COVID, and it was just a vicious cycle. I felt like I was a hamster on the wheel, going. And then one day, my husband spoke to me and said, your stress level is really high. I'm afraid for you. Do what you need to do to tone that down, because you were doing well and now you're not. my pain level started increasing again. And when I would go to see my rheumatologist, he would say, things were going really well. What happened? And I began to share with him what had happened, the trauma, the deaths in my family. And he talked to me, and I started feeling better about myself. And then I realized that, okay, as a woman of faith, I miss my loved ones. Okay, they're gone but not forgotten. And we will see each other again when God calls me home to heaven. So for now, to be absent from the body is, in their case, is to be present with the Lord. And so it's going to be all right. And then the other thing that I want to share with you all is develop your own toolkit. So living with pain or mental illness, that's a challenge, especially when you combine the two. So I want you to create a toolkit for yourself. All right. So that you can access it whenever you need to. My toolkit will probably look different from yours, and yours may look different from mine. Some of the things we may have in common, some of the things we may not. So my toolkit consists of things for my body, my mind. I have activities that I do in relaxation. So what I do, I have kind of like in addition to my toolbox, I also have a ritual. So in my toolbox, I have essential oils. Okay, I have a diffuser. In addition to that, I have also in my toolbox, there's this company called Sana, S-A-N-A Healthcare. I have some goggles, I don't have them with me now, that I put on, and it's relaxing. It makes a sound, and it's very calming. It calms me down. I also have an app on my phone that I use for fibromyalgia with Swing Therapeutics. Jeremy Frank, I interviewed him on Fibromyalgia Talks, where we've talked about this app for fibromyalgia. It helps you manage your pain. Okay, I love to journal. I love to blog. That's in my toolkit, things that I do. I have nutritional supplements in my toolkit. Another thing that I do as part of my ritual, I have favorite teas that I enjoy. So my ritual is I love to read. So whether I'm praying or reading scripture, I love having a nice cup of hot tea. So that's why I said what's in my toolkit is going to maybe different from your toolkit. Also, what's in mine is my diaphragmatic breathing. That's part of my toolkit. Tai Chi is part of my toolkit, as well as walking is part of my toolkit. So you see tools, processes that you put in place for you. Sleep is part of my toolkit. If you're having difficulty sleeping, you may want to talk to your doctor or look at getting yourself some chamomile tea, or Dr. Teal's, T as in Tom, E-A-L-S. He has a product out there that you can shower or bathe in, and with this, it's very relaxing. Some has lavender in it, some has eucalyptus in it. There's so many different things. There are phone apps in my toolkit. So Calm, C-A-L-M, is one app. I mean, there's a lot. Now, something else I want to share with you, New Year, New Beginnings. I want you to create a vision board. So when I say a vision board, you know, you can do them online virtually, or you can just buy a poster board, or if you just got a cork board, okay? Find images to uplift you. So my vision board, I'll show you all what it looks like in 2 weeks. So with mine, I have themes. I got one theme for wellness, one for careers, one for finances. I have images and mantras out there that, and I have one for vacation. So I have images out there and words of expression, so that when I'm looking at them, it's taking me to a place where I want to be. So if I'm thinking about, for example, Hawaii is my favorite destination. So I have images of Hawaii where I want to return, because that's my favorite place to vacation. I've been there several times. I have images of the ocean. I have images of whales, just different things, the luau's, you know, and I'll put a date, 2022, I'll say, right? So that's telling me We're going to make this happen. All right, I'm going to manifest this. When it comes down for careers, if you want a better job, start thinking about, what you want to do with your career. Visualize how you want to see yourself show up in different areas of your life. With chronic pain, maybe you're someone that you're in a job where they're just so unsupportive. I get that. I've been there. I know what that's like. Start writing down what you're looking for in a job. Let's work on manifesting that. Okay. In the spiritual realm, let's manifest that in the spiritual realm and bring it down here to us in the physical realm. I want you to start thinking about that. Think about your finances, because if you're someone who had to stop working, maybe you're on Social Security disability, maybe you're working part-time, maybe you've had to go through a lot of your savings, or maybe you find yourself just starting all over again. Okay? I want you to have images of finances as to, how much money you would like to save, things of that nature. I just want you to start focusing on those things that you're looking to manifest. That's very important. If you need help with that, I'm here for you, and I will help you any way that I can. So if you need help with any of that, or if you need help with putting together, a toolkit for yourself, then I can help you with that. There's a lot I can do for you with that. I have a wealth of resources on the website, which is www.fibromyalgia.patienteducation.info. We have a blog post with a wealth of information. We're starting something new this year where we're going to have a place on our website. We're working on it now, where each month we're going to be giving away some products and services. You may find some months, you may find some digital downloads. So right now I have a really nice meditation for pain out there. We have some bookmarks. We have journals. So each month we're doing something different. So that's going to be out there on the website. So I want you to put a plan in place for your life. Okay. What would you like to see change in your life? Because some of you may never ever be able to return to work anymore. Some of you may be able to return, but there may be some changes you need to make. Maybe you can't go back to that toxic job anymore where your health was suffering. So I want you to really give some thought to what you want to do. Start writing that down. In addition to that, I want you to start looking and researching keywords for jobs that you're looking for. That's part of can be part of your toolkit too, finding another job. So figure out, number one, what do you like to do? Okay. Have a passion project. All right. So I'm going to share with you all what my passion project is. So my passion project is patient advocacy. I love what I do. Healthcare patient advocacy. And so my passion project is being a consultant at a company that needs someone with my skill set of patient engagement and outreach, meetings and events. Because what I would like to do in my passion project is I'm planning a retreat where I want to take a group of people with me to Hawaii, where we are going to have a host of other types of speakers and activities that's focused on the body, mind, and spirit connection. Okay, I would love to be able to work with some corporations that have an interest in having someone like myself come in and talk to their employees on the importance of self-care. Because it is vital. I'm telling you, it's vital. Some of the places, some of these corporations here in Lake County, they work you pretty much to death. You never get to step away to take care of you. And then sometimes, depending upon your job, you are afraid to step away. All right. For fear that if you step away or take time off from work, you won't have a job when you return. So I get that. So take care of you. So that's my passion project. So I want to know, what is your passion project? Email me. You can email me at Necie Edwards, Necie, and then Edwards, EDWARDS, at gmail.com. Or you can contact me at 224 area code 225-9478. Again, 224-225-9478. And before I forget, for those of you, when we were talking about COVID, please make certain that you go ahead and sign up at covidtest.org. Every household in the U.S. is eligible to receive 4 free at-home COVID-19 tests. And again, that is covidtest.org, COVID test, TESTS.org. So, hey, take care of that. And thanks for checking me out. And I'm back, and we have more new shows coming. Very excited to be back. Take care. Bye-bye.